Hello, guys. Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Miss. Good evening.
Hello, hello. Good evening. All right, guys, we can start our lesson for today. Let me show you the agenda first. We are going to check the attendance for the class. Remember, we had a short homework, so we're going to check your answers for the homework. Then we do an activity related to linking words. So what you were studying in the with teacher Marilyn. And then we will start the topics for today, vocabulary, about crime and punishment, and also some grammar part of obligation and permission in the past. So that's our class for today. Let's start checking the attendance. Let's open the format. I will close the camera just for a moment. Let's start. Karen Acevedo.
Present, teacher.
All right. Steven Fonseca. Santiago, not here. Sergio Gómez. Chiara Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Jorge Moreno.
Present.
Okay. Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Okay. Diego Olarte. Okay, Diego. Manuela. Joan Pavón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Beatriz Pedraza.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Rincón.
Present.
Okay. Jessica Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Catherine Rodríguez.
Present, Miss.
Okay. Marlon Sánchez. Mendy Santa.
Teacher, present.
Okay. Mendy, ¿te puedes cambiar el nombre, por favor? Manuel Sepúlveda. Ah, ya está.
Present, teacher.
Okay. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Vanessa Zambrano.
Present, teacher.
All right. Excellent. Okay, so let's check our homework for today. Remember, we studied this. Okay, Manuela. In the previous class, we used the modal verbs for permission or prohibition. Okay, so I want you to tell me what did you answer in each case. Okay, so in city centers, for the first one, let's see, Beatriz, how did you complete the first sentence? How can you complete it?
Teacher, you are allowed to park in the city center.
Okay, you are allowed to park in the city center. Tienes permitido parquear en el centro. Okay. Number 2, Diego. Lorries son camiones. Lorries. ¿Cómo la completaste?
Lorries are not shouldn't allowed drive through the center.
Shouldn't no es con allowed. O sea, tenemos shouldn't o isn't allowed o is allowed. Entonces,
Okay.
Loris
Loris
shouldn't
shouldn't
drive.
drive to the center.
Shouldn't drive through the center. All right. Jorge, for number 3. You pay to drive your car into the city. Tú pagar para manejar tu carro en la ciudad. Jorge, did you answer the activity?
Yes, teacher. Sorry.
Okay.
Había salido a abrir la puerta.
No problem.
You must pay to drive your car into the city.
Okay. You must pay to drive your car into the city. Yes, esto pasa en Colombia. ¿Debes pagar para conducir tu carro dentro de la ciudad? Like, siempre? No. We can say maybe you don't have to, okay? No tienes que pagar. You don't have to pay your...
Mustn't, teacher.
You mustn't, no debes. Es que el mustn't es como una prohibición, ¿ok? Acá sería más como no es necesario, ¿ok? El mustn't es una prohibición.
Okay.
You mustn't smoke in here. Pero sigo, you don't have to, es como algo que no es necesario hacer. You don't have to drive your car, pay to drive your car into the city. Karen, what did you put in number 4? Cars stop at pedestrian crossing. Los carros detenerse en el cruce peatonal. Sorry, Karen, can you repeat?
Cars must stop at pedestrian crossings.
Yes, it's correct. Must. The cars must stop at pedestrian crossing. All right, good. Now for the next. Catherine, on roads, you wear a seatbelt.
On road, you have to wear a seatbelt.
Yes, you have to. Okay, es una obligación. Usar cinturón de seguridad. Kiara, for number 6.
You pay to use the motorways.
¿Y qué palabra le añadiste?
You should pay to use the motorways. You
Okay.
shouldn't.
You shouldn't pay to use the motorways. No debes o también you don't have to. No tienes que pagar para usar las autopistas. Okay. You don't have to pay to use the motorways. Next, Manuel. 7. You drive at 180 kilometers per hour.
7. You must not drive at 180 kilometers per hour.
Yes, you mustn't or you can't. Okay, una prohibición. You can't drive at 180 kilometers per hour. Okay, Santiago. Santiago, you get an hour of absence. It's already late, okay?
Sorry, teacher, I didn't listen to you. Sorry, I'm in the street. What did you say?
I will write.
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
for Marlon, he's traveling in Barranca. I don't know. He arrived in now, but he
Okay.
write me. He traveled.
Okay, thank you, Beatriz. es importante que cuando ustedes tienen algún viaje o, bueno, una actividad de trabajo y demás, que ustedes guarden esos comprobantes. Entonces, si digamos ustedes tienen un viaje por carretera, ustedes pueden enviar esos comprobantes, los tiquetes a la coordinadora Nancy y ella les ayuda a tramitar esa excusa, ¿ok? Pues para que todos lo tengan presente y que no se les vayan marcando esas horas. Okay. Okay, we are about to finish the checking of the homework. Okay, and the last one. You take your driving test if you are 17 years old. Maria Alejandra, how did you complete it?
Okay, you number 8.
Yes, the last.
You mustn't take your driving test if you are 17 years old.
All right, but in Colombia, yes, it's allowed. En Colombia sí está permitido cuando tienen 16 años mínimo. Entonces podría ser, you can take your driving test if you are 17 years old. Okay. Here in Colombia, it is allowed. Or you are allowed to take your driving test if you are 17 years old. All right. So guys, any questions about the use of the models for permission or prohibition, obligation? Remember,
No, miss.
when we have can or should or must, the verb is alone. El verbo siempre va solo cuando usamos el can, el should o el must, okay? Can play, should play o mustn't play. Nunca decimos should to play o can't to play, okay? Remember that. El to usamos con have to o don't have to, allowed to, permitido, or not allowed to. Y con el ought to, okay? So remember that.
Teacher,
Yes?
sorry, can you give me a link the slides, share the slide?
Okay. Yes, sure. Let me send you the link. Okay, where is it? All right. Here you can find all the slides. Aquí están todas las diapositivas, ¿ok? Tenemos el formato en PDF.
Thank you.
Ujú. Santiago, we can, the thing is, la cosa es que si damos los 15 minutos, ya he visto particularmente en este grupo que hay estudiantes, entran 10 temprano y los otros 8 entran a las 7, a las 10, a las 11, a las 12. Entonces, que sea hasta las 15 no significa que a las 14 entonces nos conectamos todos, chicos. ¿Ok? Tengan eso en cuenta. La clase empieza a la hora en punto y termina faltando 10. Entonces, vamos a dejar hasta hoy a los 15 minutos. Pero si llegan a las 12, a las 13, en las siguientes clases ya vamos a contar las fallas, porque pues no es el hecho de que si tenemos 15, entonces llegamos a las 14, ¿cierto? Entonces, para que lo tengan en cuenta. Si la clase empieza a la hora en punto, pues llegamos a la hora en punto. Y eso también cambia con la profesora. Por ejemplo, yo les dejo a ustedes 15 minutos, pero creo que con la profesora Marilyn, ella les marca la falla, son hasta los 10 minutos, me parece. No sé si ella les ha comentado algo. Entonces, pues también depende de cada una, ¿ok? Listo. Okay, so let's continue with today's topic, guys. Okay, so today, before we start our topic for today, I want to give you this short activity. Is very easy. Just to review the linking words that we were studying or practicing in the previous class with teacher Marilyn, okay? So here there is a text about surrogate mothers, okay? So I'm going to give you 5-10 minutes to read it, and you're going to select the correct answer in each case, okay? You have two options with the linking words, las palabras, los conectores. So you're going to have 10 minutes to read it and select the correct word in each case, okay? Then when you finish, please write on the chat and we will continue. We will check the answers and then continue with the class today. Again, here's the link. All right, good. When you finish, you can click here and check my answers and see your results. All right, ready?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's see. We have nowadays, science has made it possible for a couple who can't have children to pay a woman to have their baby for them. These surrogate mothers sign a contract promising they give the baby to the couple as soon as it is born, in return for a large sum of money. However, this business arrangement does not always work well in practice. And which one did you select?
As a result,
As a result, there have been a number of horror stories in the newspapers recently. People have strong feelings on both sides. Some say that it is every woman's right to have a child. Although, or what is more, a surrogate mother can often have an unhappy marriage and make some money for herself.
What's more?
What is more? Despite this, or therefore, many people are against this practice.
therefore,
Despite this. Acá nos dice, una madre, bueno, puede recibir dinero para ayudarse a mantenerse. A pesar de esto, despite this, many people are against this practice, están en contra. They say that, although or besides, they understand the heartache of a childless woman, having a baby is not an automatic right. They say that, although they feel the whole thing is completely unnatural and also, or for this reason, should not be allowed.
For this reason.
For this reason. Besides, or however, they ask what will happen to the child when he or she is old enough to know the truth. Besides, this could have a terrible effect on their mental and emotional development. I feel the last point is particularly important, and therefore, or what is more, I tend to agree that surrogacy is wrong, or at least that there should be a stricter rules about it. Therefore. Check our answers. Yes, very good. Okay, guys, any questions about the linking words? Los conectores? Nope, everything is clear.
Pues, teacher, es fácil cuando se ven, pero es difícil cuando no se ven, entonces uno no sabe qué poner ahí.
Cuando tienes las opciones dices, es fácil.
Sí.
Pero cuando no. Pero en realidad, pues hay opciones, hay varias opciones. No es que en un caso específico tengas que usar therefore o as a result, ¿no? Sino pues como de la categoría. Existen los de agregar información, que son similares al and, como also o besides. Los de contradecir o estar opuesto, que sería el however o el despite this, y el último que es como resultado, ¿no? Entonces, o as a result, o for this reason. Entonces puedes usar el uno o el otro, ¿ok? Es
Okay.
a la categoría. Okay. All right, guys, so let's continue. Let's take a look at the book on page 110 and 111. We will start with the vocabulary. It's related to crime and punishment. Do you know what is punishment?
Castigo.
Castigo, yes, this is crimen y castigo. It's related to this topic, all right? Let's start by discussing these questions and I want you to hear your opinions. So imagine, what was the criminal justice system like in Colombia 200 years ago? Imagine, el sistema criminal de justicia in Colombia 200 years ago. What do you think was like? It was more strict, more relaxed? What do you think?
Strict, maybe, teacher, for
Yes, maybe more strict. What type of punishment? ¿Qué tipo de castigos imaginan?
cut the hand,
Cut hand, maybe.
cut
yes.
hand.
Maybe,
Finally.
yeah, death, like hanging was very common, like colgar a las personas hanging, right, for different crimes. So it was definitely harsher. These words, do you know this word? Harsh or lenient? Do you know the meanings of these words?
No, miss.
No, teacher.
Harsh is it's similar to hard or strict, okay? This is harsh. Duro is similar or the same as hard or strict. And lenient is like relaxed. En español diríamos como más indulgente, ¿no? Que deja pasar cosas. Lenient. So we think that the criminal justice system 200 years ago was harsher than it is today. Yes, it was more strict. So we're going to start by reading this text. Yes. Jorge says justice was only available for certain people in those days. Yes. So we are going to read about the criminal justice in Britain 200 years ago. And then after we read, we're going to answer these questions. What crimes resulted in the capital punishment? What is capital punishment? Like they take your life, right? This is castigo capital, la pena capital.
Pena de muerte.
They killed you, yes. And what was considered a more lenient option? ¿Cuál era la opción más relajada o indulgente? Okay, in this time for the 18th century criminal system. All right, let's start reading. Let's start with Mendy. You can start. The harsh world of 18th century justice. Mendy. No? Okay, Natalia, so you can start reading, please.
Okay, teacher. The harsh world of 18th century justice. Criminal justice in the 18th century was a harsh business. There was no community service and few criminals were even sent to prison. If you committed a crime and were arrested for many crimes, you could expect that the death penalty.
The death penalty. Continue reading, Manuela.
Okay, teacher. At the end of the 18th century, there were over 200 crimes that could be punished by hanging, as well as serious crimes like murder and, how do you say, teacher?
Kidnapping.
Kidnapping. These included burglary,
Burglary.
robbery, and shoplifting. I don't know.
Shoplifting.
Okay, shoplifting and mugging. Mugging. More? Or less?
Finish here.
Okay. Even if you were caught cutting down a tree or stealing a rabbit, it could result in death.
In death. It could result in death. Santiago, please continue.
If the judge was more lenient, the defendant might be sentenced to transportation instead. This meant traveling by ship to Australia. Conditions on the ship were terrible and many prisoners died on the way. If they lived, they had to do a last 7 years hard labor before they could be released for good behavior.
It could be released for good behavior. Okay, let's take a look at the text one more time. And then we answer the questions, okay? Criminal justice in the 18th century was a harsh business. There was no community service. Do you know what is this? Community service?
¿Servicios sociales?
Yes, servicio social, yes. A few criminals were even sent to prison. Enviados a prisión. If you committed a crime and were arrested, for many crimes you could expect the death penalty, right? The death penalty. At the end of the 18th century, there were over 200 crimes that could be punished, podrían ser castigados, could be punished by hanging. Remember, I told you hanging is la soga, yes, by hanging. As well as serious crimes like murder. Do you know what is this? The meaning of these words, murder?
Asesinato.
Homicidio.
Yes, asesinato, homicidio. Murder, kidnapping. Do you know what this is?
Secuestro.
Yes. These include burglary, robbery, shoplifting, and mugging. Do we know the difference between all of these?
What is the meaning of
No,
burglary?
teacher.
Yes, so they are all different types of robbery. Todos son robos, but in different aspects. So let's take a look here. I have the definitions over here. So burglary is breaking and entering into someone's house with the intent to take something that is inside the house. Okay, this is burglary. So in Spanish, how can we say?
¿Entrar a robar una casa?
Yes.
Apartamentos.
Yes, like apartamenteros. Yeah, burglary es el robo de ingresar a una casa o apartamento. Robbery, this is more general. The action of taking the property unlawfully, o sea, en contra de la ley, from a person or a place, by force or threat by force. Entonces, un robo es de gran magnitud. Generalmente hablamos a un banco, a esto sería un robbery, okay? This is, for example, a person,
Como que le rapan a los bolsos o algo.
No, that's not. El robbery es más grande, ¿ok? Por ejemplo, el robo de un banco.
Burglary is
un robbery.
Teacher, sorry. For burglary is a robo casa, algo personal de casa.
Sí.
Robbery puede ser un banco, puede ser una empresa, puede ser, sí, algo así.
Yes, exacto. Sí.
Empresa o...
Entonces, claro, el mugging es el raponeo, ¿ok? attacking and robbing someone in a public place. Entonces, por la calle te atacan o simplemente te rapan las cosas, eso sería mugging, ¿ok? Y también entraría en categoría de robbery, pero el robbery es más amplio y generalmente es para robos de mayor cuantía, ¿no? Robbery. Smuggling, si te arrancan billete de la mano, pues smuggling, ¿ok? Y el shoplifting is the action of stealing things, goods from a shop, while pretending to be a customer. Okay? What is shoplifting?
Ser como un ladrón de tiendas, de esos de que entran, se mide un zapato y se lo roban, algo así.
Sí, yes. Entonces, el robar tiendas, supermercados, es el shoplifting, ¿ok? Diferente, digamos, el shoplifting no es a mano armada, sino alguien entra al
Escondidas.
Jumbo o al
Descuido.
Éxito y se saca algunas cosas. Eso sería shoplifting, ¿ok? Sin que se den cuenta. ¿Ok? El robbery, si entra con armas o amenazando, ya sería un robbery, ¿ok? A una tienda. So those are the differences between all the crimes, like the robberies, okay? Even if you were caught, what is to get caught? Or to be caught?
Atrapado.
Atrapado,
Fuera
yes.
atrapado.
Even if you were caught, incluso si eras atrapado, cutting down a tree, cortando un árbol, or stealing a rabbit, robándote un conejo. It could result in death in this time, no? In the 18th century. If the judge was more lenient, remember, more relaxed, the defendant, what is the defendant?
Defensa.
Lawyer.
El
El defendido, el acusado.
el acusado, sí. Puede ser confusa porque diríamos, el defensor. No, el abogado, it's not. The defendant es el defendido, ¿no? En español decimos el acusado. The defendant might be sentenced to transportation instead. This meant traveling by ship to Australia, los mandaban a Australia. Conditions on the ships were terrible and many prisoners died on the way. If they left, they had to do at least 7 years of hard labor before they could be released. Podrían ser liberados, ¿no? Released for good behavior, por buen comportamiento. Okay, let's answer the question. Number 1, what crimes resulted in capital punishment? From the text.
Mugging, robbery.
Yeah, pretty much everything, like stealing, burglary, robbery, shoplifting, murder, of course, kidnapping. All of these included the capital punishment. And what was the more lenient or relaxed option?
Stealing a rabbit. Cutting down.
No,
a
this is
tree.
the crime. Ese es el crimen. But what is the option? The more relaxed alternative.
Australia by a ship.
Yes, to be sent to Australia in a ship. This was the more lenient option. Okay, guys, listen. So now you are going to take the words from the text, the words in bold, las que están resaltadas. Take the words and they are all connected to crime and punishment. You're going to write the words in the correct category, okay? Divided in crimes, verbs, punishment, and the people. Vamos a dividir las palabras que están en negrilla arriba en las categorías crímenes, verbos, castigos y las personas, okay? Mentioned in the text. So I will give you around 5 minutes to divide these words in the different categories from the text. Okay. All right, let me know when you are ready so we can check together. All right, ready? Okay, good. So let's start checking. For example, Sebastian, for the category of crimes, what else did you include? Joan?
Burglary,
Burglary.
robbery,
Yes, burglary. What else?
kidnapping,
Kidnapping,
robbery,
robbery,
shoplifting,
shoplifting,
mugging,
mugging, mugging, and no more. I think that's it.
yes.
Yes, that's all. All right. Vanessa, for the punishments, what did you include?
Teacher, I think community service.
Community service. And what else?
Hungry.
Hanging. Yes. These are the punishments. Xiomara, for the verbs, what else? To be sent to prison, to commit a crime. Xiomara?
Teacher, sorry, I don't have the answer.
Okay. Jessica, do you have the answer for the verbs? What else? No? No more?
Teacher, yes. I'm not sure, but were arrested.
To be arrested, yes. What else?
Punished.
Be punished. To be punished.
You were caught.
Yes, to be caught, en este caso diríamos, ser atrapado, to be caught.
and be sentenced
To be sentenced, ser sentenciado, and
and
to,
be released.
yes, good, to be released, ser liberado, to be released. All right, good. Now, start again, Beatriz, for the people. Judge.
Prisoners,
Prisoners,
criminals,
criminals,
and the defendant.
the defendant.
Defendant.
The defendant. All right, very good. So here we have our vocabulary. Very good. We are going to check now the story. So we have next a story about a famous 8th century British criminal. This is the person, Jack Shepherd. Okay, we are going to complete the text with the words that we have here. Was arrested, was hanged, committed, crime, got caught, burgling, shoplifting, robbed, and criminal. So we are going to read the text together. Then you will have some time to read again and complete each line with the correct phrase. Vamos a leer juntos, leen el espacio blank. Después lo vuelven a leer individualmente y lo completamos con las palabras. Okay? Let's start reading. Diego, you can start reading, please. A famous criminal.
Okay, teacher. A famous criminal from the 18th century. Jack Shepherd was born into a very poor family in 1702. When he was 6, he started to work and at the age of 15, he became an apprentice carpenter. In the spring of 1723, he won
his first.
He stole 2 silver spoons from a shop.
Okay, stop there. Okay. From a shop. Thank you. Continue, Jorge. He wasn't caught.
He wasn't caught, and his son moved to Bulgaria. He usually stole from house where he was working as a carpenter.
Okay, please continue, Karen. Okay. Thank you, Jorge. Shepherd. Karen. Catherine, so you continue. Shepherd.
Shepherd first in February 1724, but he escaped within 3 hours and continued houses. He 3 months time in 1724, but each time he escaped.
Okay, stop there. And then he escaped. He escaped. Thank you. Continue, Kiara.
Then on 31st October, Shepherd shop and stole a black silk suit. He was They was arrested the next day for the final time. 2 weeks later, 200,000 people, 1/3 of London's population, attended his funeral. Shepherd had become a celebrity.
A celebrity. All right, so you are going to read the text one more time and use it, these words, to complete it, all right? Was arrested, was hanged, committed crime, got caught, burgling, shoplifting, robbed, and criminal. Okay, let's take 5 minutes and then we will check the answers together. All right, let me know when you are ready. So we check your answers together.
No, miss.
All right, guys, I think we can start checking. So let's read it again with the correct answers in each case. Jack Shepherd was born into a very poor family in 1702. He was 6 when he started to work. At the age of 15, he became an apprentice carpenter. In the spring of 1723, he committed yes,
her first
his first crime. Yes, this is number 1. He committed his first crime. He stole 2 silver spoons from a shop. He wasn't caught, and he soon moved on to burglary.
maybe
From
Shoplifting.
shoplifting, from shoplifting to burglary. He usually stole from houses where he was working as a carpenter. Shepherd first in February 1724 was first arrested in February, but he escaped within 3 hours and continued burgling houses. Sí, burgling houses. He
got caught.
He got caught, yes, he got caught 3 more times, but each time he escaped. Then on 31st of October, Shepherd robbed the shop and stole a black stole a black silk suit. He was arrested for the final time. 2 weeks later, he
Was hanged.
was hanged. Yes. 200,000 people attended his funeral. Shepard had become a celebrity criminal. A celebrity criminal. All right, very good. Excellent, guys. So that was our practice for the vocabulary. Let's finish over here discussing these questions, and then we continue with the grammar part. Do you know of any celebrity criminals, like robbers, murderers? Do you know about any of these famous criminals?
Ted Bundy.
Okay, Santiago says Ted Bundy. What crimes did Ted Bundy commit?
Murderer.
Yeah, murder for
And
women,
D.P.
especially.
Cooper.
And why do you think these criminals or some criminals become famous?
Bonnie and Clyde.
Also Charles Manson. So guys, why do you think these criminals or some criminals become famous throughout history? Why?
In the case of Ted Bundy, because he neither himself know how many women he killed.
Yes, it was many.
There's a movie about that. It's named The Final Confession. It's good.
All right, yes. So he became famous because it was like excess of crime, right? He didn't know how many victims he had. It was a lot. It was a sick person. But yeah, generally these cases like extreme, you can say mass murders, asesinos, or serial killers get really famous, right? Because people are interested. How did they didn't get caught before, right? Committing all these different crimes. All right, good. So we finished with the crime and punishment part of the vocabulary. Today, we will also cover the next part of the grammar, which is obligations and permission, but in the past. So in the previous class, last week, we studied the use of permission and obligation in the present, like you can't park your car here. You have to do homework. You must, etc., right? That was in the present. Today, we are going to review the use of obligation and permission, but in the past, okay? So let's start over here. Why were people in the 18th century sent to prison? What do you think? We are going to read the text and answer these questions. Why did some people never leave prison? And what is the connection between prison and the novelist Charles Dickens? All right? So let's read the text and then we will answer these 3 questions. Let's start reading the text. A prison 200 years ago. Continue, Manuel. Yes. You start, Manuel. A prison 200 years ago.
Okay. In Britain, in the 18th century, people were often sent to prison if they had debts. However, even though they were there because they were in debt, they pay for everything while they were in prison. If they had some money, they used the prison restaurant and they wear the heavy metals chains that other prisoners wore.
Okay, you can stop there. Other prisoners were. Maria, please continue. Some better.
Some better of prisoners live outside the prison and they get married and even work. This means they could earn money to repay their debts and eventually leave prison.
Eventually leave prison. Mandy, please continue. Most prisoners. Mandy.
Okay, teacher, most prisoners, however, have no money, even if they pay their original debt. They live until they have paid for staying in prison. Some prisoners spend years and years in prisons, and many starved to death. Men often brought their families into prison with them.
Their children. Thank you, Mandy. Please continue, Natalia. Their children.
Their children were used to keep their family alive. The English novelist Charles Dickens left school at the age of 12 for this reason. His father was in prison for a debt to a banker, and the young Dickens get a job in a factory to help support his family. Debtors' prisons were not abolished until 1868.
1868. All right. What new vocabulary do we have in this text? Okay, debts. What is a debt?
Deuda.
We don't say debt. It's like debt, sin la B, okay? The debts. Okay, what else?
What's the meaning of debt, Miss?
Deudas.
Deuda. And better off.
Okay, some better off prisoners, como algunos prisioneros que estaban mejor, en una mejor posición. Better off prisoners live outside the prison and they get married and even work. They could earn money to repay their debts and eventually leave prison. This is starved to death. Do you know what is the meaning of starve?
Como pasar hambre, ¿cierto?
Yes. Pasar hambre. Starve to death. Que se morían de hambre. Eso, aguantaban hambre hasta morir. Starve to death. The novelist. For a debt to a baker. Where is a baker?
¿No es panadero?
Yes, panadero. Starved for a baker, and the young Dickens get a job in a factory to help support his family. They were not abolished. What is abolished?
Cuando fue derrumbar,
Abolido. Fue abolido until 1868. All right, so there we have the text. Let's answer the question. All right, I'll give you 2-3 minutes to check the text one more time, and then you answer these 3 questions. Okay, only 3 minutes. Okay, let's answer, guys. So, Manuela, the first question. Why were people in the 18th century sent to prison? According to the text.
If they had debts, miss.
Yes, but Manuela, where's Manuela? All right, yes, because the answer is because they had debts. They were in debt. Now the second question, Santiago, why did some people never leave prison?
Teacher, I don't know the answer.
You don't
The
have the
question.
answer. Okay, let's see who has the answer. Why some people never leave the prison?
Because they can't repay.
Imagine they were in debt and they had to pay for everything while they were in prison. Estaban en prisión por tener deudas y tenían que pagar todo además en la prisión. So it was impossible for them to, and they couldn't work inside the prison. So it's illogical, doesn't make any sense. No tiene sentido que entraran por deudas y les cobraran más dinero y no pudieran trabajar. It's ridiculous. And the last three, what is the connection between the prison and the British novelist Charles Dickens?
Because his dad
His
was in
dad,
prison.
his dad was in prison and he had to start working at the age of 12, right? Get a job to give money to his family to support them. All right, good. Okay, guys, listen. So in this part, we're going to start practicing all the modal verbs in past to talk about obligations or permission, okay? Los que ya vimos en el presente, ahora vamos a practicar en pasado, como el have to, ahora es el had to. O el negativo sería didn't have to. El can se convierte en could o en couldn't. Y el were allowed to, no tenían permitido o tenían permitido. Were allowed to o weren't allowed to. So we are going to complete this text with the verbs here. We can have more than one possibility, all right? So you are going to complete it as you think it is correct. For example, the first one, using these verbs over here. They were in debt because they had to pay for everything while they were in prison. Entonces la primera será had to. Ellos tenían que pagar todo en la prisión. They had to pay for everything. All right, I'll give you some minutes, 5 minutes to check the others. Let's see how you completed using the modal verbs for obligation. All right, let's complete it. All right, guys, are you ready? Have you finished or not yet? All right, yes, I think some of you already finished. So let's start checking, okay? So we have, they had to pay for everything while they were in prison. If they had some money, how do you complete it?
Were allowed? Were
They
allowed
were,
to?
they were allowed to, ahí podríamos tener dos opciones. Were allowed to o could. Podrían, ¿no? Ellos tenían permitido o podrían, were use the prison restaurant and they
Didn't have to.
they didn't have to. They didn't have to wear the heavy metal chains that other prisoners wear. No tenían que usar las cadenas que otros usan. Some better off prisoners
Could live outside.
again were allowed to or could live outside the prison, and they
Were
could
allowed.
or could, yes,
Were allowed.
could or were allowed to get married and even work. Most prisoners, however, had no money. If they paid the original debt, they
Couldn't.
or weren't allowed to leave until they had paid for staying in prison. Men often brought their families into prison with them. Their children had to work just to keep the family alive. Charles Dickens, again, had to leave school for this reason. His father was in prison for a debt to a baker, and the young Dickens
were allowed to,
or maybe
had to get a job in a factory to help support his family. Debtors in prison were not abolished until 1868. Okay, so let's take a look at the chart over here, and so we can understand the use of models in the past, right? It's very, very easy. This is quite simple. We have in the present form, must, have to, or have got to. In the past, we use only had to. Entonces, cuando hablamos del must o del have to o del have got to, en la forma pasada solo tenemos el had to, ¿ok? La obligación. El must no tiene forma en pasado, ¿ok? Must es solo del presente. Entonces, cuando la usamos en pasado, tenemos que usar siempre el had to, ¿ok? I had to go home. Tuve que irme a casa. Tuve que. For the negative, I don't have to go home. I didn't have to go home, okay? So look here, we only add the auxiliary in past and the rest is the same. Solo cambiamos el auxiliar al pasado y el resto queda igual. I didn't have to go home. For can or can't, they can vote. In past, we use could or couldn't. Okay, they could vote, they couldn't vote. And we are, the last, we are allowed to, tenemos permitido, we are allowed to, or we are not allowed to, or we mustn't, okay? Ahora tenemos acá la forma del must en negativo. En pasado solo usamos el we were allowed to o we weren't allowed to speak, El are pasa al were, okay? We're allowed to, we're not allowed to, we were allowed to, we weren't allowed to speak. All right? Very easy. Must doesn't have a verb in the past. We only use had to, okay? Or in the negative, mustn't, we use weren't allowed to. Okay? Any question? Any questions about it?
Not yet, Miss.
All right, good. So we can take a look at here. All right, let's play the bamboozle. I don't think we can do this exercise, but let's play the bamboozle game to practice. Let me open the link for the activity. Okay. Right, guys, so as we usually do, we will have two teams, two groups. We will reveal the cards. You have a sentence in present, and you have to use the modal verb in past, okay, to get the point for your group. Let's divide the group in two. Okay, let's start with the group number one is Beatriz, the first one. Choose a number, Beatriz.
Teacher number 4.
Okay, 4. This is the sentence. Choose the correct option. Vera's parents were very strict. She was allowed, or she wasn't allowed to go out in the evenings. You have two options, was allowed to or wasn't allowed to.
Wasn't allowed to.
All right, yes, she wasn't allowed to go out in the evenings. All right, good. Group number 2, Diego.
Teacher.
A number? What is the number?
Number 7, teacher.
7, okay. Again, my last boss was a complete tyrant. I had to, didn't have to, work ridiculous hours.
I had to work ridiculous hours.
Yes, I had to work ridiculous hours. All right, Jorge, for group number 1.
Number 8.
8. Okay. Oh, you can take points from the other team. Let's
20.
take, no, they only have 15. Let's take 15. Okay. All the points. Team number 2, Kiara.
And 2, teacher.
Number 2. Okay. What is the past form of this sentence? Do you have to work on Saturday? Tienes que pasarla al pasado.
Did you have to work on Saturday?
Yes, correct. Number 1, Karen.
Yes, teacher. Number 1.
Number 1, okay. The past form of this sentence. We must leave early.
We must leave early.
No. Remember, must no tiene pasado, ¿ok? Cuando usamos el modal must, debemos en pasado usar el had to. We had to leave early, ¿ok? No point in this case. Number 2, María Alejandra.
5.
Number 5, okay. What is the past form of this sentence? Are you allowed to do that?
Were you allowed to did that? No sé.
Again, were you allowed to did that?
Were you allowed to do that?
Okay. Yes, it's only in the first part of the sentence, okay? El pasado solo sería en el verbo to be acá. ¿Tenías permitido hacer eso? Acá en este verbo no debemos usar el pasado, ¿no? ¿Tenías permitido? No sería hizo o a esta forma del verbo se queda como está, ¿no? Solo al principio. Were you allowed to do that? Okay, number 1, Catherine. Catherine.
Yes, Miss. Number 12.
12, okay. Choose the option. When I was in the army, I didn't have to wear a uniform.
When I was in the army, I had to wear a uniform.
Yes, correct. Okay, number 2, Natalia.
10.
10. Okay, Natalia, what's the past form? We mustn't take our jackets off.
I have to take our jacket off.
Repeat.
I had to take our jackets off. We have. Sorry.
Again.
We had to take our jackets off.
Okay, no, it's incorrect. Because this is negative, el must en positivo es had to. Y el mustn't, como es prohibición, debemos usar o couldn't o weren't allowed to. No teníamos permitido, ¿ok? Entonces, we couldn't, no podíamos o no teníamos permitido quitarnos nuestras chaquetas. So, no point in this round. Okay, number 1 again, Manuel.
Yes, teacher, number 15.
15, okay. The past form of this sentence. We have got to write an essay for homework.
We had to write an essay for homework.
We had to write an essay for homework. Yes, correct. Este have got to no tiene forma en el pasado. El pasado es solo had to, okay? It's correct. Continue, Joanne.
Yes, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
3.
3, okay. We are allowed to invite who we want. What is the past form?
We were allowed to invite who we want.
Okay, I told you the answer. Who we wanted. Yes, we were allowed to invite who we wanted. Correct. Next, Manuela.
Okay, teacher, number 14.
14, okay. Choose the option. Women in the 19th century didn't have many rights. They could or they couldn't vote.
They couldn't vote.
Okay, yes, they couldn't vote. Good. Team number 2, let's go with Xiomara.
6.
6, okay. Oh, you win 20 points. Good. Santiago for group number 1. Santiago.
Sorry, teacher, my microphone was
Okay.
13.
13, okay. Choose the correct option. My first job was really easy. I didn't have to work very hard.
Didn't have to.
Okay.
I'm sorry, had to.
No, it was correct. Didn't have to. Dependiendo de la oración, mira, my first job was really easy. Muy fácil. Mi primer trabajo fue muy fácil. I didn't have to work very hard. Yes, it's correct. No tenía que trabajar muy duro. Okay, for group number 2, Jessica.
System.
16, okay. Wow, other team loses 25 points. Vanessa, for team number 1, the last round.
11.
11. Oh, you take 15 points. Good. Mandy, for group number 2. Mandy? Is Mandy here? No? Se desconectó. Okay, so Diego again. Ready, Diego?
Ready, teacher.
Okay. The past form of this sentence. I don't have to go to work.
I didn't have to go to work.
Yes, it's okay. Okay, the winners today are team number 1. Very good. Okay, guys, tell me, do you have any questions, any doubts about the past forms of the modal verbs for obligation? Or no?
No, miss.
No? All right. Listen, guys. So we are going to have a homework for this last point number 2. Okay? So I will check it at the end of the week on Friday. Let's no, not Friday, sorry. I will check it on Wednesday. Okay, so you have tomorrow and Wednesday to do this activity as homework. So you're going to write down 5 laws or rules from your countries in the past. So from Colombia in the past. You are going to think about poor people, about women or girls, or children, or the laws for criminals, or people in general, okay? So you're going to write 5 rules or 5 laws from Colombia in the past, okay? Related to these poor people, women, children, criminals, or everyone, okay? For example, women weren't allowed to vote, okay? I will send you the link for you to do the activity as homework. Just give me a moment to open the activity. We have how many students? 18, I think. Remember the list I sent you with your names? Okay. No, let me show you the list again. Les voy a volver a mostrar la lista porque o yo se las envié al WhatsApp, no. La lista reciente, no. Así. Ok, siguiendo el orden de la lista, vamos a hacer la actividad en la presentación, ok. Ya les envío el enlace. Okay, I will send it to WhatsApp. And over here in the chat. No, 5 total. Jorge, you asked me 5 rules for each category. No, 5 rules in total. You choose the category. Las categorías son como ejemplos, pero son 5 reglas en total, ¿ok? Una de poor people, una de women or girls, una de children, ¿ok? As you prefer. Or
Okay,
2
thank
for
you.
poor people, as you want. All right, any other question about the homework? The due date for homework is Wednesday. Wednesday, the 26th at 6 p.m. Okay? That is, oops. That is the due date for the homework.
Okay, Miss.
All right, thank you guys. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye. That's all.
Good night.
You too, teacher.
Good night,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Bye-bye.